Stop everything you are doing. Your life depends on it. I am here to warn you, it is time to wake up. We are officially in a major spiritual war. Today, I want to dive into a conversation that is both ancient and incredibly current. You may have heard the term spiritual warfare your entire life. It has been spoken about in scripture, echoed by prophets and mystics, and explored through philosophy, history, and even game theory. But this time is different. This time, the spiritual war is going quantum. Today, we are talking about AI and technology battling for your consciousness. We are talking about repeating patterns across generations, the rise and fall of civilizations, the illusion of the 3D matrix, and the power struggle unfolding through media and artificial intelligence. But the real spiritual war is not ultimately happening out there. It is happening within, and this spiritual war may be the last one. Welcome to the Dr. Erin Show. May you live your truth. Welcome to the Dr. Erin Show. Hi, I'm Dr. E, Doctor of Divinity and Master Spiritual Coach. I'm the founder of Spiritual Psychology School and Soul Community. Today, we are bringing this all the way back to universal law, to your soul, to your daily energetics, and to what it actually means to awaken the God source within and become the light in a world that profits from fear, division, and distraction. So let's begin. There is something many people can feel right now, even if they cannot fully explain it. There is pressure in the world. There is tension in the field. There is a battle for attention, identity, truth, energy, and consciousness itself. Some call it spiritual warfare. Some call it a battle between light and dark. Some call it a psyop. Some call it a war for the mind. Some call it a timeline split. Some call it the matrix. But in many ways, all of those perspectives are pointing toward the same thing. Like humanity is in a threshold moment. We are watching ancient patterns amplified through modern technology. AI is about to change life as we know it. Division spreads faster than ever before. Fear has become monetized. Outrage has become a business model. Algorithms have learned how to hijack the human nervous system. At the same time that artificial intelligence is rising, humanity is being asked a profound question. What is sacred? What is real? What is consciousness? And what does it mean to be human? There is an interesting perspective coming from an unexpected place. Game theory professor Zhang Shuichen has described modern conflict in a way that aligns with this deeper spiritual perspective. His work has gained incredible attention after he predicted that Trump would win the election, that we would go to war with Iran, and that we would ultimately lose the war with Iran. His videos and talks are everywhere on social media. One of his videos caught my attention. He said, "The real secret behind this war is this. The most powerful currency in the world is not money. It is not oil. It is not military force. It is human consciousness. Whoever controls what billions of people believe controls everything. This war is not ultimately about Iran or the Middle East. It is about the soul of humanity." Now, whether you agree with his prediction that Iran will win the war or not, that insight is profound, because if consciousness is the battlefield, then attention becomes the weapon. Whoever wins the domination of AI wins our attention and ultimately controls consciousness. Where you give your attention is what you are energizing. Attention is currency. Attention is creative power. Where your attention goes, your life force flows. What you dwell upon impresses the subconscious. What you repeat becomes identity. What you identify with becomes reality. So if there is a war for consciousness, there is a war for attention. And if there is a war for attention, there is a war for your soul's creative power. But here is where we must go deeper, because the deepest spiritual war is not left versus right. It is not east versus west. It is not one nation versus another nation. It is not even ultimately human versus machine. The deepest spiritual war is within each individual consciousness. It is fear versus faith, separation versus oneness, distraction versus devotion, false identity versus true identity, reacting from ego versus responding from source. That is the real war. And if you do not understand that, the external world will recruit you into its conflicts again and again. Because the external world constantly tries to seduce you into forgetting your power, forgetting your peace, forgetting your divinity, forgetting your center, forgetting your authority within. Now, let me be clear. This does not mean suffering in the world is not real. This does not mean injustice is not real. This does not mean war is not real. But it does mean the way we process reality matters. If we allow the darkness outside to become the darkness inside, we have unconsciously handed over our power. In spiritual psychology, we teach that evil is not some cosmic power that outranks God. Evil is the inverted use of consciousness. It is energy turned against itself. It is thought misused. It is identity distorted. It is consciousness creating from fear, blame, division, envy, vengeance, and despair. What we see collectively in the world is often the reflection of what is happening internally in millions of individuals. That is why the war out there is always connected to the war within. And right now, many people are losing that internal war without realizing it because they wake up and before they anchor into truth, they hand their consciousness to a device, they scroll, they consume, they react, they absorb fear, they absorb division, they absorb endless narratives. Little by little, their nervous system tightens, their perspective shrinks, their heart closes, and then they wonder why they feel disconnected from God. But here is the truth. The kingdom was never outside of you. The kingdom is within you. And this brings us directly to today's universal law, the universal law of divine will. Stop waiting for a sign. The universe responds to your beliefs. The absolute truth is that God's will is your will. Divine will is not about forcing outcomes in the physical world. Divine will operates through consciousness, through the direction of energy, with the power of the mind and the conviction of the heart. Control in life does not come from domination of the physical realm. Control comes from the beliefs within your soul. Your beliefs determine the energy you direct into universal law, and universal law always responds. So when people say they are waiting for a sign, what they are often really doing is waiting to feel safe before trusting their own divine guidance. But Spirit is already speaking through you. The oracle is within you. Your higher self is not asking you to wait. It is asking you to live. The will of Spirit is your authentic will. The only real transgression is withholding yourself from life, not stepping forward, not acting on your calling, not trusting the truth you already feel. So if we bring this back to spiritual warfare, the real question becomes this: will you allow the world to convince you that you are powerless? Or will you remember that consciousness is creative? Will you keep waiting for permission? Or will you step into divine will and take action from alignment? Because the universe responds to conviction. When mind, heart, and action align with truth, universal law responds, not because you are forcing reality, but because you are aligning with the intelligence already moving through life. I feel this in my own life constantly. There are mornings when I'm walking barefoot outside, the sun rising, the air quiet, the earth beneath my feet, and I feel the presence of God. I feel gratitude, peace, guidance, connection. Life feels sacred. Then there are moments when I open social media and start scrolling, and I can feel my energetics change. The contraction begins, the mind spirals, hopelessness tries to creep in, and in that moment, I recognize something. That is spiritual warfare. Not because something supernatural jumped out of my phone, but because consciousness is being challenged. Will I hand over my power or will I reclaim it? And when I notice that, I know exactly what to do. I turn off the noise. I breathe. I pray. I meditate. I return to the divine presence. And from that place, I do not try to fix the entire world. I ask for one inspired action, and just one. What is mine to do today? What is the next true thing? Because the spiritual war is not won through domination. It is won through remembrance, remembering who you are, remembering where your power comes from, remembering that consciousness aligned with truth is stronger than any algorithm. So yes, we may be living in extraordinary times, but this moment is also an invitation to awaken, an invitation to embody truth, an invitation to reclaim your attention, your consciousness, your devotion, and your divine will. Because the soul of humanity is not decided by governments or algorithms. It is decided by billions of individual choices of consciousness, and that includes yours. Your consciousness is creating the entire universe right now. That's right. There is no such thing as the past or future. Everything is being created right now. So if someone controls everyone's consciousness, they control the universe. Let that sink in. I am knowing the awakening of your divine will today. And on that note, I invite us to pray together. Take a deep breath in and let's say these three words together. I choose love. As together, we say, and so it is. Okay, if you're new here, you can grab the free Universal Law calendar below. Also, you can join Soulciété to have a daily spiritual practice and learn to break through every area of your life. If you are ready to turn your love for spirituality into a career, you can join the SPPC Professional Accredited Certification to learn E4 Method, Spiritual Psychology Coaching, and Universal Law. Have a beautiful, blessed day, and may you live your truth.